You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where we have a special episode of Have I Got Cricket News for You? I'm Jack Hope, I'm joined by Ross Legg. How are you doing, Ross? Are you excited for a medley show? I think that's what we'll call it, a medley show.
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone likes a bit of a medley, don't they, really? I'm just trying to figure out which mainstay characters would be from Have I Got News for You now. I reckon you're more Paul Merton, Max. And Jack's on the Ian Hislop scale, I think.
And you're Boris Johnson.
No, I think Angus Deacon.
What happened to him? Like, he was big, he was on a load of TV.
He had to quit in disgrace.
Drugs, wasn't it? Drugs.
I think it was
and
drugs,
prostitutes.
Yeah. If there's a way to go out.
These days it could be a whole lot worse, couldn't it? Let's face it.
Yeah, and you don't even go to prison. So
Yeah. Good start to the episode, boys. Max, you are actually in charge of the agenda today. I've taken a 2-week break. I didn't do any preparation for this, so I'm handing over the agenda to you. What are we going to talk about?
Well, it's everyone likes a game of cricket where extras is top scorer, right? This is what this episode kind of feels like. It's an extras top scorer kind of episode. There's nothing big to talk about. Australia are in town, so we'll talk about that. But does anybody care? I don't, because what's actually happening that matters is county cricket, and we'll talk about that as well. Because the Vitality Blast Finals Day happened, and I have a rant about the ECB. And then there's 2 games left in the county championship, and after Surrey's implosion on at the end of last week, it's all up for grabs between Somerset and Surrey in Div 1. So good fun stuff there. There's some Hollywood chat. The Wrexham boys are maybe getting involved in Welsh Fire. So lots of stuff, lots of good stuff. Where would you like to start?
Should we start with England, Australia, which you might not care about, but probably is the
actual
main news? Yeah, so I think if my dates are correct, since the last time you two did a podcast last week, there have been 2 T20s and a rain-off. It finished 1-1.
Indeed.
Travis Head, Ross, this is the main news from this. Travis Head is the greatest T20. Well, he's having the greatest T20 year by any batter. You could strongly argue. And he did it against England, didn't he, in game 1? Did you enjoy Travis Head getting another 50 inside the power play? I think it's his 7th of the year.
Yeah, he's very exciting. And what you have to look at is the franchise that has made him who he is, and that is obviously Sunrisers Hyderabad. So they saw through all of the hatred, I suppose. Why would you bring on another Australian batter into your lineup? Why would you bring on another opener? And they saw the Travis Head light, and he continues to go from strength to strength. I quite also like it when he doesn't hit any runs as well. Like, he doesn't muck around, does he? He either gets out first ball or hits a bunch of runs. And do you know what? Not that bad to have in your team.
Yeah, I mean, it's a vibe, isn't it? So he followed up his 50 with 31 off 14 balls in the second match, doing a lot of damage. England, they were 1-0 down, Max, going into match 2. Obviously, the stakes are extremely high for this game in Cardiff. Australia, they get 193 on the board. Some runs for Fraser McGurk. Some runs for Josh Inglis, the next generation of Australians coming through. Isn't Josh Inglis like 30? He's 29, yeah, so maybe not the next generation. The B team coming through. And then England fight back. Liam Livingstone, much maligned over the last 12, 18 months. Liam Livingstone, 87 off 47 for him. He gets wickets in the series as well. A bloke called Jacob Bethel, the heir to Moeen Ali, I hear, gets 44 off 24. And England chase it down, 194.
Yeah, he absolutely twatted Adam Zampa. Absolutely hooned him.
Actually, a pretty good game of cricket, though, Max.
Yeah, it should have been a lot more comfortable for England in the end, but they had a big old stutter when Matthew Short turned into Ravi Ashwin and completely took England's middle order to the cleaners. But it was quite interesting for me as Jack completely freezes on screen, is the fact that Liam Livingstone was coming in at 4, and there were some questions about whether that was the right place. Should he swap with Sam Curran? Sam Curran's been batting 4 and 220s for Surrey and for Oval Invincibles for a bit, and maybe he's more suited to those middle overs, and Liam Livingstone perhaps hasn't got the longevity to make it through a T20 innings from, I don't know, say like the 7th or 8th over. But Liam Livingstone in both games, actually, because he scored an impressive 40 odd in the first game in that losing effort, and a much better performance in the second game with his 87. Like, yeah, basically putting people in their place, putting his critics in their place, and it's nice to see Livingstone back out, because when he's performing, he's box office, isn't he? So it's good that England have got that. I suppose the mainstay he can be a link, can't he, from the previous England white ball T20 setup to what they're trying to create with the new blood and the likes of Jacob Bethel. So a firing Liam Livingstone is going to be important for that transition. So good for England that he was in on it, and a good, really good win for England. It was pleasing to see, and Jacob Bethel, like, coming in and being able to take on the spin, which so often grinds England to a halt after a fast start. That gives England another string to their bow as well. So yeah, there was some fun stuff from this series to get out of it. But I've got a question on the Australia side.
Well, I've got a question on the England side. I've got a question on the England side. If this is such an important T20 game, obviously series is on the line, and they're obviously selling tickets in September in England, and obviously billing it as England, Australia. This is amazing. Why was Jofra Archer not playing? And then why is Jamie Overton in the team and not bowling? Is he still injured, but we're deciding to play him as number 7?
He's been playing as a batter for Surrey, and he's not really bowling because he had his stress fractured, and he's coming back from that. So he was picked literally to bat number 7 and try and smack the ball. As he was picked as a finisher, and that was an interesting call. And
do you want to know?
Maybe.
I think it's I quite like Jamie Overton, and I quite like him as number 7, and I think probably underrated in wider cricket. I do kind of agree with this. Do you want to know his scores over the last 8 games of the 100?
Yep.
Do it. 0, 25, 7, 14, 1, 21 not out, 3 not out.
Okay.
There you go.
Strike rate.
Pedigree. I don't know. Probably good,
quite high.
Like it. Yeah. I don't hate Jamie Overton getting a go. Probably you'd like it if your number 7 did bowl.
Yeah.
Didn't bowl in any of those 100 matches, by the way. Like, it's
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for England going down the Shimmer and Hetmeyer kind of route and just be like, we're going to get this slogger, but it'd be good to have a little bit more of more availability and flexibility. But anyway, Max, what were you going to say on the Australia side?
Yeah, question for Australia: is Tim David actually bad?
I was wondering this. Because he had a year, 2 years where he was actually brilliant, and everyone was like, "This guy." Well, he doesn't look like a cricketer, does he? No, he unfortunately just doesn't. You don't look at him and think top tier athlete. That's what I would say. I don't know what there is. There's something about him that
quite high performing commercial director of like a
that's
network
exactly what I think,
or something like that.
I think potentially a sub 10 handicap on the golf course for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely destroys the annual inter-club game as well. The annual inter-club T10 every year, smashes it, captains the winning side.
But he was really good, and then when the world woke up to him being really good, he did turn into a relatively decent cricketer / commercial director. So I don't know. I can't answer that. I can't answer that at all, Max.
It does seem to be a little bit
looking for.
Bowl slowly at him. And
well, we saw it We saw it in the IPL, didn't we? When the teams pretty much were just taking the piss kind of against him, and then Mumbai Indians sent in P.S. Chawla ahead of him in the batting order. So
yeah, well, maybe that's the problem. Maybe he's got psychological trauma from
Donut Boy being
from that absolutely heinous decision. He's doubting everything that he thought he knew about the game, and he's just a husk of the cricketer that he once was. Should we talk, Max? I know you were in charge of the agenda, but I think we've done enough on the T20s. So some ODIs coming up. Harry Brook's going to be the captain. Ross, you just made a very satisfied noise. Are you looking forward to? I'm assuming they call it Brookie. Taking the reins, England's 5th captain of the summer.
Yeah, I just think it's quite enjoyable. Like they always like playing Yahtzee a little bit with the different players. Is Harry Brook really the brains behind this? I'm not entirely sure, but he did a little bit in the 100, so it's clearly they're trying to show there's a bit of a proving ground, but it does come a little bit soon. But with all these things, it just feels like people don't particularly care that much. Like an ODI random ODI series against Australia, it's just a bunch of glorified friendlies. Like, why not give the young guy a good go? Ollie Pope being vice captain and getting a run out against Sri Lanka's captain was a good thing as well, right? And it's just a little bit of more pressurised environment. It's like a glorified net, really. So I hope it goes well for him. It'll be nice to see some of the Test match players play in this format. So Ben Duckett is likely to open the batting, and I think Ben Duckett's kind of deserved that. He's batted really, really well, and there's also some exciting players in that middle to keep with the white ball frenzy approach that England seem to take in ODI cricket, with a little bit more ballast that we've probably been missing over the last couple of years.
Max,
I don't know. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this England squad, and I'm thinking it's got 400 or 20 all out written all over it. I don't know. I'm not seeing much ballast, to be honest.
I think it's good. Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Duckett's just gonna go out and swing like he does in a Test match. Just because he plays in the Test team, I don't think that adds ballast. Will Jacks, Liam Livingstone, Phil Salt. I think Jacob Bethel will just swing at it as well. From what we saw in the T20s, Jordan Cox, I think, can possibly have that slightly more reserved role.
Jamie Smith
and maybe
demonstrated
Jamie
he can do it
Smith as well. But it's quite an inexperienced side as well. It's coming up against kind of a more classical cricket team in the Australian setup. Steve Smith's back in, Labuschagne's there. So I think, I think it'll be an interesting clash of styles between the two. It might make for some interesting viewing, but it's a bit of an odd. I don't know. It's a bit of an odd list of players on the England side. I guess it's rebuilding season, isn't it? So we're trying a few things, and people have got an opportunity to make their mark. But it'll be a journey of discovery for everyone, I think, this series. In a rather pointless scenario, because I suppose there's a Champions Trophy next year, isn't there? But
we sold it well.
Feels a bit random.
Ross, do you want to make any predictions?
How many games are there? 3?
5.
Well, but I'm going to say they're only going to play
3
because of the rain. There's definitely going to be rain, and it's definitely going to be cold. So I reckon Australia will win 2-1.
2-1 to Australia. I mean, there's a good chance if you ever look at the venues of the place. So Thursday and Saturday, they should be okay. One of the games is in Leeds, so you never know there. Tuesday the 24th, they're playing a game in Durham.
Yeah,
that's going to be cold.
It'll be cold. It'll be dark.
The
sun goes down a little bit sooner there.
Then they come back to London for.
It's not that far north. It's not in Finland.
I mean, it will be cold. It will be wet. I mean, I can't. Yeah,
Max, I'm speaking from experience. I lived in Durham for 4 months of my life. You have to remember that, especially over these months.
Was it exclusively during the winter? Is that why it got dark a bit sooner?
The last game is Sunday the 29th in Bristol, and I can say from experience that is going to rain. There is no
100% chance of rain there.
I mean, I can't believe they've actually done that. I mean, surely, let me have a look at the Bristol weather right now. It only goes up to Tuesday. It only goes up to Tuesday next week when it's going to be sunny. But I'm telling you, 29th. There will 100% be rain that day.
I reckon my 2-1 prediction is probably going to be okay. I reckon.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think it's a good shout.
Cool. We're going to take a quick break. Then we're going to come back and Max will tell us what the next conversation topic is. Oh, Ross, you're going to do the Manscaped copy. So get
that's
ready
the
with
next
that.
conversation
Yeah,
topic.
yeah. Cool. Right. Here comes the break.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast, where Ross has an urgent message for you.
Fellas, do you want your grooming routine to be one and done deal? That is the big question that Manscaped are asking. Well, the days of using the trimmer for your face and your private parts are over, thanks to our friends at Manscaped. They've come up with the ultimate package to keep your hairs trimmed from 12 to 6. They took me a little while to figure out the 12 to 6, but they're talking about a clock, aren't they? Introducing the Beard and Ball Bundle featuring Lawnmower 5.0 and the Beard Hedger, a trimmer for the moneymaker and another for the boys downstairs. Max, where can you get 20% off and free shipping? Is it Manscaped's website?
It is. It's manscaped.com, and you do it with the code CricketPod.
Oh, Jack, what code do they use?
Cricket Pod, which is the word cricket and the word pod combined into one
Oh,
word. 20%
nice.
off plus free shipping.
At manscaped.com. Right, let's get on with the cricket. Max, where are we going next? Which part of this medley do we get to tackle next?
Should we go for the blast? Should we go for finals day? The Festival of Cricket at Edgbaston. It was an all southern affair for the third time in 4 years. Can you believe that? It's become a bit of a,
because it happened.
yeah,
Like
it
that.
it's become a bit of a southern only affair in the last few years. But they're only
Good.
winning 12-10 the south on winners, so it's not all bad for the north. Don't worry too much. And it was a bit of a one-sided affair in all three games.
Who did you want to win, Max?
Well, I, of course, as a Surrey fan and Surrey member, was very keen on Surrey winning. But, shorn of most of their team, that was always going to be difficult. And then they came unstuck against Somerset in the first semi-final.
Could they play Shakib Al-Hassan? But did he not? Oh, was it just a one-game deal?
I was wondering why they didn't just keep him hanging around for another weekend. Just get him in there. But as
Max,
it was,
I'm going to be honest. I really wanted Somerset to win the whole thing.
The whole thing. What you wanted to do the treble.
But Gloucestershire, I quite like Gloucestershire. We've got some big fans on the podcast from Gloucestershire. So yeah, I thought it was a good finals day actually.
Ross, can I just throw out as well some of the big name or the D-list players that Surrey had available for them? Dan Lawrence, England's Dan Lawrence. I mean,
England captain Ollie Pope,
but he's not bad. Ollie Pope, England captain Ollie Pope. Jamie Smith, the new Adam Gilchrist, he was batting number 4. Laurie Evans,
he got a golden duck. He's crap.
A bazillion runs. Tom Curran,
famously in the IPL.
Oh, look, captain by Chris Jordan.
Really?
What's he got? 150 England wickets? Is that? Not bad.
Wait, Jack, I'll just. Could you hear my violin play for?
Yeah. That's exactly what I expected and wanted from both of you when I made that point. As a Surrey fan, it is completely ridiculous to expect any sympathy because they were missing a bunch of players, but look at the side they put out. It's still ridiculous, and not having players available for a county game is it's part of county cricket. It happens. It's something you have to deal with, and if you want to make if you want your team to be the best and get players who are going to play for England, then the other side of the wedge is that you're going to have people unavailable. But I think there is still a wider point that I would question, apart from boo-hoo, sorry, they were missing all these players. As the ECB organising this tour with Australia coming over for these white ball games, sort of kind of just for fun, I suppose. There's no warm-up thing. There's no big tournament on the immediate horizon that you're preparing for. It's just some one-off games against Australia towards the end of the summer. And then to have that happening directly over the flagship event of your domestic T20 competition where you want to have all the best players on display, and you want people to go and see teams at their best facing off against one another in the final. I think it is disappointing for me that the Blast is clearly losing out more and more to the rest of cricket. I mean, it's you have the period of the calendar for the 100 where you don't have anything else going on at the same time, and that's fine. That makes perfect sense. But it's the result is obviously you push the Blast back, and there's not enough time to squeeze everything in. So I guess it kind of shows where we're going with the Blast, and it's a bit of a shame because finals day's great, and you want to have.
I get that right, but it really does only affect Surrey.
Well, I mean,
how many players? Okay, so there's one Sussex player out of 11. How many Gloucestershire players weren't available? How many Somerset players weren't available?
And it's great for Gloucestershire because it means it gives them a better chance of winning, and it's a. So
you're complaining about this from a Surrey point of view, and I understand that like 50% of the people that follow cricket in England support Surrey, but it feels like that. But it, what are we saying? We should plan the whole cricket calendar around getting the best availability out for Surrey. In the event that they do
Surrey
make finals. They might have lost the quarter finals.
Because
they might have lost the quarter finals. We're not even talking about it.
Look, it was Surrey. It happened because Surrey happened to be in there, and they were badly affected. But there are other teams that have players. Yorkshire. People
unavailable for the 100 though. Yeah, the 100 finals day was also marred by lack of selection, right? Because of the Test match cricket that was on, and you can argue that the Test matches were pretty pointless as well.
Yeah, I mean, so it's the same thing, right? You've got a flagship, you've got a flagship white ball event, and it just seems a bit silly to be scheduling stuff over the top of it. That's all. But I mean, at the end of the day, it was a cracking win for Gloucestershire, and very nice to see.
Got to the actual headline.
Yeah, nice to see a new team. Well, Ross has already mentioned it. It's fine.
I do have a question for you, James Bracey. When he played for England in Test match cricket, it was a disaster. I think it's probably fair to say. But it looks pretty handy. It looks very handy. And Max, is there going to be another opportunity on the horizon, or has Jamie Smith got those gloves kind of locked up? Because Ben Folkes and Johnny Bairstow are unlikely to get a look in, aren't they?
I don't know. It feels like Jamie Smith's there for the long haul. I mean, given the amount of rope they've given some of the other players, particularly Surrey players in that England setup, I can't see Jamie Smith being hung.
I do like how you try to be balanced, Max. I do respect it. I must admit, there is a certain element of you being brought up on the BBC, and I think that definitely shows. But I think there's also a certain leaning, like increasing.
Of course, there is. I have to give my leaning. It's all part of the fun, isn't it? But I am acutely aware that everyone despises Surrey for having all the money and having the best players, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. It's quite funny.
Yet you're still happy to use 10 minutes of this podcast every week to complain that one of the Galacticos wasn't.
I haven't even got to the bit where Ollie Pope's not available for the county championship because he's playing in a pro-am golf tournament. I mean, come on, England are resting him, so England are resting him for the first 2 weeks, so he can't play. He can't play for Surrey in the closing stages of the county champ, but he's off playing.
Well, it's not like there's been any dangerous injuries to any England players on the golf course, is there? That kind of, especially ahead of quite
famously a safe space for England.
There was a better golf story than this, though. Did you see that Kevin Peterson? I mean, this show has completely lost any coherence at this point, so let's just lean into it. Did you see that Kevin Peterson was banned from Sunningdale Golf Course?
Yes.
Why did he try to shoot Donald Trump? Was it actually?
No, he just tried to apply.
He tried to apply, and they wouldn't have him. Do you want to know the plot twist, Ross? Andrew Strauss is a member.
I was just like, oh, sorry, Kev.
Strauss is revenge.
One of the weaknesses in his game. Oh, right. How's this for short game?
Right, we're going to lose Ross right now. So see you later, Ross. Max, yes. I'm going to put up a random YouTube thing, and then you're going to carry on with the final topics for us to get through. Bye, Ross.
See ya.
And here we go. So what else do we have to discuss?
Seamless. Max? Well, we've got as I alluded to, last two games of the county championship are coming up, and it's a straight shootout between Surrey and Somerset for the title. Somerset going into it 8 points adrift with 2 games to go, but they have Lancashire, who they are currently playing in a low scoring thriller, while Surrey face Durham at home, followed by Essex away, which is going to be a tough one. Essex away, so every chance of Somerset getting the work done there. What do you reckon? Where's your money?
My money is on Surrey winning it. The game between Essex and Lancashire at the moment. Lancashire are 10 runs ahead in the second innings with 9 wickets remaining. So
Somerset and Lancashire.
Yeah. There's every chance that
that'll be over
Somerset
day 2.
Yeah, well, and to be honest, I think there's a decent chance that Lancashire, they probably need to get 150 to be well in that game based on what we saw on day 1. Surrey v Durham looks like a much more normal cricket match. 262 all out, plays 52. Surrey on 52 for none at the end of day 1, so they're not in bad shape there. They'll also take probably batting points forward, and Somerset obviously didn't take any of those from their game, so that will extend the lead after the first innings. So even if both teams do win, Surrey will have a bigger gap than they do now, which will probably mean that they'll have to lose fairly badly to Essex on the final day, and it might even mean that Somerset need to win and pick up some bonus points, a decent haul of bonus points in the last round of the thing, and it's happening in late September. So to be honest, I can't see it happening, but it was a fantastic last hour or last half an hour even to that Surrey Somerset game, where Surrey, knowing that they basically needed to draw to win the championship, just went all out on the blocking. Dom Sibley 56 off 183 balls, Ben Folkes 20 off 100 balls, Clark 0 off 47 balls, and Kemar Roach 0 off 30 balls. So you can see pretty clearly what Somerset were going for. Jack Leach and Archie Vaughan, Michael's son, 5 wickets each. Archie Vaughan picking up 5 in the first innings there as well. He had a great game.
7 in the first innings, 12 in the match.
I think that will be Somerset's high point. Obviously, it was great when it happened, but even after day 1 of the next round of fixtures, I mean, like we probably need Surrey to have a disastrous day 2, like be all out for 150, and Durham to have extended the lead and have wickets in hand for there to be, in my mind, a realistic chance of an overhaul. But these things can happen in cricket. These things can happen.
Somerset don't exactly have it easy in their last game. They're at home to Hampshire, who are 3rd in the table anyway. So yeah, it's I obviously am hoping it ends up back at the Oval once again, but it's at least looking like it's going to be closer than it seemed after the first 6 or 7 games of the tournament. But yeah, I mean, Surrey, I think they paid the price in that game against Somerset for not trying to win. It reminded me of that England refusal to chase the New Zealand score in that Test match a few years ago, when they just, it was uninspiring. It didn't mean anything. They drew it comfortably, but it would have been nice to see them actually go for it. And Surrey, they needed, it was 3.5 and over. Yeah, it was a turning track, but it wasn't crazy. And 210 was what they needed in the best part of a day, and they didn't go for it. They decided to go for the draw, and it came back to bite them in the end. So I think that was a misstep from them. I'd like to see them attack it, but obviously you can understand why they decided not to. But I thought it was negative, and they were punished. And fair play to Somerset for going at it right until the end, because it was drifting, but they kept at it.
Yeah, but what did Surrey have to bat here? They
had to see out 8 overs with 6 wickets in hand by the end.
So they bowled out 78 overs. I mean, I don't know exactly how many overs were left at the end of the day, but it wasn't many. So they had, let's say they had to bat 85 overs. An entire team had to bat 85 overs. If you're champions elect, you should be backing yourself to do that. Quite frankly, bad Surrey. That's what I say. Very bad, sorry. Division 2, that's more interesting. Well, it was more interesting. It's slightly resolved at this point in time. Sussex will be going up. They're on 200 points and they're doing well in their penultimate match. Already got a gap of 21 to second place and already got a gap of 36 to third place. So they were effectively, well, almost certainly champions and virtually certain. Maybe there was some mathematical miracle that could have happened. In fact, is it 16 points for a full win, 8 for a win, 5 batting points and 3 bowling points? Or I got that slightly wrong. Maybe they could have got 0 twice and Middlesex could have got all their points and somehow Sussex didn't go up. But, really they were. So there's a battle for second place. Yorkshire 15 points ahead of Middlesex. At the end of day 1 in the second division, Yorkshire 361 all out, picking up loads of batting points there. And Middlesex are 125 for 1, responding to 173 all out Derbyshire. So they both those sides have got a really good chance of a win. Obviously, that massively benefits Yorkshire given the points differential. So it looks like Sussex and Yorkshire will be going up.
Just looking at Leicester
on that.
I was just looking at Leicestershire's record, and they've played. Well, of the 12 completed games, they've won 1, lost 2, and drawn 9. That's an exciting season.
That whole division. If you, well, I'm assuming you got it up. I'm flicking between the two, so it'll take me a second. There've been a lot of draws.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of runs, haven't there? There's some 600 asides and absolute nonsense going on.
It's been a bit weird, and it's actually quite strange. I think that Sussex, despite having won 3 more matches than anyone else, so they've won 7, next best is 4, have, what in real terms is actually a fairly small margin to second place. Like they're, in terms of actually winning cricket matches, which is what you're supposed to be doing, clearly the best team in that division. But it took until it took until the last match before that advantage has actually.
They toyed with the idea, didn't they, of reducing the number of points available for a draw to try and encourage people to be more aggressive and try and win games of cricket. And they threw that in the bin. But I don't know. I don't see why. Or maybe a reduction in bonus points or making bonus points a bit harder. But I was thinking the same thing with the tables. It feels like winning is under rewarded as a result in the county champ, but hey ho, it's low down the priority list, isn't it?
Yeah, so you get 7 points more. This did happen, but I think the counties wanted it to go back to
it was 1 year, wasn't it? They tried it for, and then
you get 7 points more for a win than a draw, which isn't a lot. That's fewer than the total bonus points that are achievable. So,
questionable.
Make that what you will. Make of that what you will. Is there a better solution to that? Maybe. Anyway, Max, anything else that we want to cover off on this episode?
Any other thing?
It's dark where I am.
It's dark. Yes. Well, we've been going for all that time. The only other thing that I had was a bit of a clip of a news article where apparently owners of Wrexham, Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds, are perhaps in the game for getting involved in buying up some of Welsh Fire, investing in Welsh Fire for the 100. What do you reckon? Do you want to see that? Do you want to see more of Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney taking over English sport? Do you want to see another documentary about?
I honestly don't particularly care either way. I'm unclear from the article that I've read whether they're going to go. So there's like 2 phases to the sell-off, isn't there? There's the 49% sell-off that the ECB are doing, and then the counties themselves can sell off 51%
if they want.
Or keep 51%. The Welsh one is predicted to be the cheapest franchise at 30 million, which is, what would that make it? Like a
spare change
League One football team, so probably about as much as Wrexham.
That is small.
So it's perfectly possible that the two of them have got the loot, and it seems like they'd be doing it through the Glamorgan 51%, so not having to front the 15 million, I guess, that the
Okay.
ECB would be hoping to get for the other almost half of the money. So they could buy, for instance, £1 million worth of Welsh Fire, and I don't know what that would get them. Probably
Not a lot.
the right to go and watch some games. Do they like cricket? I've never heard that either Rob McElhenney or Ryan Reynolds ever expressed an opinion at all about cricket. So
No. Well, it'll be a journey of discovery for them.
like, why? I don't know. Maybe they just fancy it as an investment.
I
Clearly,
want to see them.
clearly they do have some kind of an interest in football.
Yeah.
Like, it's not they might not be the world's biggest football fans, but they are at least broadly aware of the sport, how it works. Like, they weren't duped into buying Wrexham. They bought Wrexham because they thought it would be an interesting journey, challenge, whatever project to take a non-league team, not really a fallen giant, but a team of maybe some renown in North Wales, and try and take them up through the pyramid. The romanticism of sport, like this isn't the same project that they're selling here. This is. I mean, really, I don't know why you'd put your money into this unless you thought there'd be an investment return.
I think I know what might have happened. I think someone bought them a copy of Football Manager for Christmas, and they got very into it and decided they'd replicate that in real life. Then this Christmas, someone bought them a copy of International Cricket Captain, and they thought, "Oh, this is fun. I'll try and replicate that in real life as well." I want to see them pick up Sophia Gardens and move it to Wrexham. That'd be fun. A North Wales International Cricket Stadium. Yeah,
I mean that it could be. I mean, the whole 100 sell-off. I think there'll be some interesting things that come out of that.
Well, we've already got Delhi Capitals, haven't we?
Well, yeah, I mean, so we know Delhi Capitals have bought one of them. I don't fully understand. I mean, I suppose a couple of the franchises, if you like, are probably off the table. Or at least partly off the table in terms of the route of going in through the county.
Yeah.
So that's what Delhi did with Southern Brave. But they might still buy the other 49% at auction. They might not, but they basically own Southern Brave now. Like before that auction has even happened, they've got their hands on it. Sorry, that ain't going to happen. Middlesex, that ain't going to happen. Yorkshire have been pretty open that they're broke. And that you could just buy them basically
for a fiver.
So I'm kind of surprised that hasn't been the route in for at least one of the major players in the cricket space. We'll see who ends up with their hands on these franchises and what they want to do with them. My opinion on all of this is that it's becoming more and more obvious that if you read the literature on this, and there's not a lot of literature, there's like 3 or 4 people that have ever written a book about cricket business, but generally what people will say is, or one of the themes that you'll often hear is that because of cricket's history and the way it's been set up, there have been fairly few avenues for private investment to come into the game, and that has stymied innovation. I think it's becoming more and more obvious that probably isn't the case. Like, I don't think that we're about to see anything particularly innovative in any of this stuff.
No, same thing, different name.
Certainly with the IPL, we saw innovation, and that is true. Has it necessarily revolutionized the game? Maybe in India, possibly in South Africa.
It might have revolutionized the economy of it. I don't think it's revolutionized the game itself so much.
Well, in a sense, it has. It's developed a new economy in terms of T20. Has it broadened or enlarged it? I think the jury is still very much out on that, and I basically wonder whether Delhi Capitals owning a stake in Southern Brave or owning all of Southern Brave, shifts the dial into a more innovative product that will suddenly appeal to loads of teenagers. Probably it won't.
Seems
Probably
unlikely.
it'll be more or less the same, but maybe they'll do a better TV deal with broadcasters in India and make a bit of bunts on the side there. That's the great innovation, is that there are some better TV deals with Star Sports.
It's what we've all been crying out for, Jack.
Yeah,
Better
exactly.
contracts.
And some, to be honest, some really fairly dubious operators lurking on the margins, who have managed to grease their palms as well, get their palms greased. Anyway, Max, I think that's probably enough for this pod. Anything else? Probably not.
Well, a reminder to
yes,
click the like button, click the subscribe button on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, give us a lovely review, go to Manscaped, buy some Manscaped stuff, and Patreon as well, patreon.com/thecricketpod, where all the good chat's been popping off in the Discord. The NFL fantasy season is well underway, and it's all good fun. We recently got to see someone's giant trolley of Costco goods. So if you're a fan of Costco, Patreon, Discord, the Cricket Pod is the place for you. A lot of Costco chat.
There is probably arguably too much, but don't let me discourage you from joining. Goodbye.